Alrighty, so lesson for today, this is going to support uh, October 31st, actually happy Halloween. So if you are missing October 31st or you have not done this assignment, this is the review video to make that work. So we are adding and subtracting polynomials, and all polynomials are is a fancy way to describe something that looks like what you're seeing here in question 1. That is two or more elements that are a number and a letter or a variable, and possibly different amounts of exponents. So what you're seeing there is 5p to the second minus 3 plus 2p to the second minus 3p to the third. So there's two things you've got to know. First off, you always want to pick the highest exponent first, because in proper mathematical notation you always go in descending order of exponents. So our highest element right now is going to be this guy right here, and he's in the second part of this, so I'm going to put him in the second line. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to put in negative 3p to the third power in the lower box because it's in the second part. And there are no p to the thirds in the first one, so I'm going to put a big old 0 up there to fill in that blank. Now we've got a couple of p squareds, so I'm going to line those up. I'm going to have 5p squared in the upper part and a 2p squared in the lower part. And I'm going to cross off those and that first one so you remember we used them. And then that's going to leave me a minus 3 up here and another blank spot for a 0 down there. Now once we've set these up, we are adding them together. So I'm going to put a little plus over here. And we just got to add each column down. So 0 plus negative 3 is still negative 3p to the third. 5 plus 2 is 7, so we're going to say positive 7p squared. And negative 3 plus 0 is minus 3. And that is our answer. That is what goes in the blank. So negative 3p to the third plus 7p squared minus 3, done. Subtracting works the same way. We're going to go through that same process. In this one, we don't have anything with exponents, so we've just got a couple of 5a's. Those are like terms. 5a and 5a, one in each. And then we've got a just plain number 4 and a just plain number 3. So I'm going to put 4 over 3. And this time we're subtracting. So 5a minus 5a is a big 0, because if you have 5 a's and you take 5 a's away, you got no a's left. 4 minus 3 is 1, so actually the answer to this one is just plain old 1 with nothing else left in it. Now the reason you want to be sure to do placeholders and make sure things line up is going to be illustrated by this problem right here. So I'm going to start with our n to the fourth, because that is our highest exponent. So on the top, I'm going to have negative 3n to the fourth power. And I'm going to have 11n to the fourth power underneath that. And now I've used both of those. My next highest exponent is n squared. So I'm going to fill those in. The 10n squared is from the first element, so it goes on top. And the 3n squared is going to go on the bottom. Don't pay attention to that minus there, because it's actually outside that. I should take a moment to erase that, lest it be visually confusing. Okay, so that's our n squareds. And then we've got an 8n. That's on top. There are no just plain n's on the second element, so we're going to put a 0 there. And then we have this negative 7 that's going in the bottom part, and we're filling in a 0 up top. Now, this is why I said filling in those zeros is important. We are subtracting these two things. And for the first couple of things, it's not going to be a big deal. So this is negative 3 minus 11 gives us negative 14 n to the fourth. 10 minus 3 is going to give us plus 7n squared because it's positive. 8n minus 0 is going to stay 8n, so it's a positive as well. Now here's what's interesting. Grab your calculator and type in 0 minus negative 7. Because we're subtracting and our top thing is a 0, we're going to actually end up with a plus 7. People always want to be lazy and not fill in these boxes and just throw the negative 7 in there because it's not being combined with anything, but it's actually being taken away from 0, which means you end up flipping the sign. So be careful about that. This question is actually negative 14 n to the fourth plus 7n squared plus 8n plus 7, and that is probably the most complicated one you'll run into on this worksheet. We're keeping it fairly simple. Just got to look for those like terms, and good to go. Have a lovely day.